Hey guys, good evening, good evening. You already know who it is. It's your girl Lillie Mae, and I am here this evening all over the place. Emotions all over the place, but we're gonna keep it funky, we're gonna keep it professional, and we are gonna talk with a spectacular gentleman tonight You know that Tuesday nights is all about entrepreneurs, independent artists, and things of that nature. And so I am elated to be sitting here with a spectacular gentleman whom I have grown to really like. I have grown to really like upon meeting him. It was more or less to just listen to some tunes, pass the tunes off to the reviewers to listen to. And somehow we connected. I'm still trying to figure out how we connected, but he is an awesome dude. He is a dad. He is a veteran. He is an artist. I don't know. He's somebody. He's a man that took his pain and turned it into music. And without further ado, I want to present to you Mr. Leon L. Henson.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
How are you?
I'm good. I was kind of late. I was on a bike trying to get to the house or whatever. I think you already seen it, but that's one
I
of my
ain't trying to
passions.
hear that because I won't on this. I ain't trying to hear that.
Eventually, in due time, yeah, that's one of my passions.
Absolutely. So look,
Yeah,
I don't feel like I need to introduce you to me, but I do need to introduce you to the world. And so, guys, tonight is a different kind of night. So, tonight we are going to do the formal interview. And remember, it's Consulting Time is always the show that features interviews with business owners, entrepreneurs, industry moguls, and a variety of artists and global influencers. Now, remember that it's always my concerted effort to serve as an ambassador for hidden populations. So, with that being stated, there are so many independent artists here in these United States of America that are so underrated. You know,
right.
we tend to focus on the artists whom sell this depiction of themselves that is so far from their reality. And so that's what we're not doing tonight because this dude, I'm telling you, like, he is. I, I'm gonna let him talk because he just that dude. That's all to it. So,
I greatly
Elder.
appreciate it. So, um, for those that don't know, I go by L. Dot. The company that I've actually pursued and took the journey on is called Bar Life, which is be a real life influence for everyone. It's an acronym. Something that I kind of like started in early 2017. It was me and my brother. His name is Menace or Quintus Thompson for the Facebook, and it was something to where we wanted to take music to kind of like do a better influence, to kind of like change where we're at. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not going to say every music that we have is going to be positive. It's going to be pain. It's going to be stuff that we felt. But you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we want to influence that you can do it better. You know what I'm saying? Can do better. Um, I was in the military. I was a vet for 10 years. I got out 2012 medical. Pretty much my whole right leg is bionic or whatever. So I did my service, I did my time, and I'm just trying to do it in art form. It's pretty much in a nutshell. I'm just Leon. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's jump in. Let's just jump right in and really talk about the business at hand. So, what is it? How did your journey with music start? Because I know that it was early. It was
yeah,
early.
it was.
You had a different name.
I started it when I was 8, and technically it was 7, and I had a thing for R&B. So like I had these headphones. I would listen to like In Vogue, um, Jagged Edge. I mean not Jagged Edge, but As Yet, like all the old stuff. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah, so back then I would sing it out, and my folks would be like, "Stop singing this, that, and the third." So I kind of like picked up on rap, and so I started writing my own songs, this, that, and the third. And then when I got to like 15 or 16, I started battle rapping. Just like going against people, this, that, and the third, to where it became something I loved doing. And
Okay.
went through a marriage. The marriage gave me an ultimatum: either music or family. And I didn't have kids at the time, but I wanted to start a family type deal. So I kind of put music aside and did the whole family routine. But during that time, I was going through a lot of bad stuff, like in and out of jail. thugging in the streets, typical stuff that you think is normal. Um,
Okay.
so I felt like it was something that I had to give, but I couldn't figure it out until I lost my daughter, which was in 2014. And
Mm,
2014, there was 13 days that pretty much changed my whole perception on life. And so at that time, I had to figure out what I was going to do, this, that, and the third. But a lot of people wanted me to do like remixes or make anthems and this, that, and the third. So
okay.
my son's mother, she was like, "Well, why don't you just do it full time?" And I was like, I mean, let me do the research on it. So I did the research. I did a whole year, 2016. I did the research on how the business work and this, that, and the third. And I kind of just leaped into it. And here I am.
Okay. Okay. So when we think about, you starting your music career early, then you got into family life, and you start having
Mhm.
kids, you got married, you went through a divorce, I want to say, right?
Yes.
So
Went
during
through two.
that time, how did that factor into your music? Because you talked about turning your pain into music. So I'm pretty sure that if you turn pain into music, that love and that divorce process had a lot to do with that, right?
It wasn't just the marriage. It was just life itself. You know what I mean? Like I've been in the
Oh,
military. Like I've been in the military. I've been in the street. I've lost people. I've gained people. Like out of
absolutely.
out of 10 years of actually stopping music to where I'm at before, all I knew was battle rap when I first started. But you
Ah,
know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
I love music. So I really didn't have nothing to talk about if I wanted to do music. And now like even still to this point, I'm always going through something. We're always going to go through trials and tribulations, but it's not going to make us. The only thing we can do is just paint the picture. That's it. So that's all I'm trying
Absolutely.
to do, just paint a picture.
Wow, wow. So okay. What about instruments? So were you ever into like any instruments or anything like that?
I actually self-taught. I learned how to play the piano, the drums, and the saxophone. Kinda.
Okay.
I really wasn't paying attention to the saxophone. It wasn't my thing. Like,
So you just trying
but
to live my life.
right, yeah,
Alto,
yeah, yeah.
alto sax,
Huh?
the alto saxophone.
Yeah, like I wasn't really big on saxophone because like I didn't like the whole flute percussion type ordeal. Like I was more into like drums,
Okay.
piano, stuff like that. But all of it was self-taught.
Okay.
Even I bought a game on Xbox and took like 8 months to learn how to play the guitar. So like I was always around
Okay.
music. It was just my passion was writing it. You know what I mean? Like writing it out because I never was able to talk. I was always an introvert.
I would have never known.
I was an introvert, and like the only way I can express myself is either poetry or writing it out. Like I could never actually
Okay.
like even to this point, like we wouldn't have been able to have a conversation because I've been nervous. Like I still am, but like now I'm able to face it. I guess you could say.
I ain't trying to hear it.
I'm serious.
I am not trying to
Like,
hear it.
I'm
Guys,
dead serious.
guys, I'm sitting here rocking it out with L Dot, and this gentleman is someone whom I definitely hold in great esteem. He is a spectacular individual. I love the fact that he has been in every
Mm,
corner of the pool table. I hail him as the eight ball because he is definitely the last one standing. And so I'm just elated. So, okay, there was a pivotal point in your life when you really suffered a great loss, right?
yes. Yeah.
And I think that as we look at what's going on right now in the world,
Hmm.
to have to, bury a child,
Yeah.
um, a sibling, and things of that nature is tough. So, one of the things I kind of want to touch on is the fact that you put your music on hold, but in a sense, music is you. So, did you really put your
Right.
music on hold?
Right. exactly. I mean, like when I did put it on hold, it was kind of
Mhm.
like things were happening to show me like you got to go back to it.
Okay.
Um, my mom was like the biggest supporter I had, even from the times I started writing to now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like she kind of understood it, like that was my way of crying, but I didn't know how to cry, so I adapted. And with me adapting and it being on hold, a lot of this stuff happened to kind of say, hey, you need to get it out. Otherwise, it's just going to keep eating you. And, once I got to the point where I lost my daughter, it was pretty much like, how you going to talk about it? Like, these
Wow.
conversations I had with my mom, when I went back into music, like, yeah, like I had the penmanship, I was able to write it, but she
Absolutely.
always said, she always used to tell me that I won't be able to go further until I face what I haven't. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I've never faced my daughter's death. I never faced, people that I lost that were close to me. Like I never was able to face it.
Really?
So
Okay.
I had
Okay.
to use music to face it. You know what I mean? Like, and I just did a video recently, called talking to my daughter, and it was actually tough, but it was a lesson. You know what I mean? Like it taught me a lot. So all it is growth. So you're right. Music is me. I just didn't know it was. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's have a little fun. Let's have a little fun. So do you
Okay.
sing or rap in the shower?
Uh, I'm focused on somebody. I'm I'm single. I'm considered single by technicality, but somebody does have my attention.
Okay. So I wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. I said, do you sing or
Oh, I
rap?
thought you said single. Oh, I thought you said am I single?
Mine
Oh,
is
I was like, okay, well that's out the way. Uh, at first I started. At first I started like I was like I'm not gonna sing at all. Like now I do got some stuff that's coming out where I'm singing.
okay. Okay. Okay.
So like I'm working on it. Like the whole end goal is before I'm done with music. Like I want to make my own genre. So like I want to introduce something new before I leave.
Okay. So how would you describe your style or your genre of music? Like,
I really didn't. Like okay, so two of my idols is Cassidy and Joyner Lucas. Cassidy is like my forever.
Anthony.
Yeah, Cassidy is like my forever idol. Like
Okay.
that was pretty much like the first person. Like, all right, I want to battle rap now. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go for people because like I love words and his wordplay is like,
I might be able to set that up in a couple of weeks. If
for
that's
real.
really what
Like,
you feel like you want to do.
I mean, like I met her when I was in Iraq and I lost it. Like, I was probably like I felt like an 11-year-old boy when I saw her. You know what I
Oh,
mean? But
okay.
so like that's always my idol. But then like when I got introduced to Joyner Lucas and how he presents it, it was just like that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at, like in life. So like those two idolers, you know what I mean? Like kind of like made me want to progress in music. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to stay stagnant in just one style. Yeah. So
Okay. Okay. So, all right, your mission and your motivation. I know some of the things that you're passionate about, but what's your mission and motivation for music?
my daughter, I mean my kids, period. Like they pick my instrumentals. So um a lot of the songs and stuff like that, like we'll sit in the car, me and my daughter, I'll be like, hey, you like this beat? She'll tell me, no, dad, it's trash. And you know what I mean? Like, so I just go off of what they hear and kind of like paint a picture on what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? So that's
Okay.
kind of like my target at it. Because I could talk
All
about
right.
anything. Like I could talk about birds and bees. I could probably make a song about syrup. Like it's all about concepts. You know what I mean? But I'm just going off of what other people are seeing and I just paint it. That's
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. 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 All right. So, all right. We know who some of your music idols are and things of that nature. But what about career development? Like, where are some of the places that you performed and things of that nature? Are there any places you aspire to perform?
Oh man, I mean it's pretty much at this point. I've performed close to 20 states. I'm gonna say close to
Wow.
it because I did a lot of traveling. Like my first year, I was gone. Like I wasn't only I was every month in Texas. I was in Texas for 4 days. After that, I was gone. So like I wanted to get out of there, this, that, and the third. So performance wise, like I'm pretty much at the point where nothing's really gonna like stop me from performing. You know what I mean? So like my next big gig is in Germany, which is next year. So all I'm doing now is just prepping for Germany. You know what I mean? Um,
Absolutely.
yes, and so as far as business wise, like I'm pretty much like a sponge. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people like you're not too old to learn something new. So I always kind of like stand clear and understand what's going on in the business, you know. So I try to surround myself with people that actually either A, been in the game, or B, got knowledge of it, you know, so that way I'm always on top of what I'm bringing, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? Like with people like that, as long as you communicate with them, they'll give you free game. You know, it's just how you talk to them. You gotta talk to them like a human being. I gotta realize that they're human, so I'm gonna approach them like human. That's what we should do.
All right, so we went from pain to music to the motivation, and now we're talking mission, right?
Hmm.
And it seems like your mission is so complex because
It
you
is.
don't just focus on one thing. So tell us a little bit about that because your mission is very complex. You're definitely not just focusing on one thing.
It's very complex, but at the end of the day, it's bridging a gap. So,
Absolutely.
kind of give a synopsis on what the genre that I'm trying to bring to the table is bridging
Okay.
the gap. You know what I mean? It's pretty much taking different genres and molding it just to show you that it's possible to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I should be able to be on a polka, Middle Eastern, and trap beat and make it sound like something, like it makes sense. So that's
Oh,
the whole purpose of it. Like, instead of just having separate lanes and keeping it segregated like we always been taught, why not make it one? So that way we can all understand each other's genres. So that's the
okay.
whole mission of the whole bar life saga, I guess you could say, is just bridging the gap regardless of what it is. Then that's when it breaks down on what gap are we bridging. You know what I mean? So it's not
Mm,
just music, it's you know what I'm saying, it's life. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's bar life music and more. Like it's more than just music. So we're trying to bridge the gap at all costs for better living. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to be here. We got another generation to look at.
you know, it's interesting to me that you made that statement about bridging the gap.
All right.
And it just, I'm thinking about conversations, that we had on the Multicultural Revolution Forum. And that's you.
Yeah,
When
like
I
I
really,
mean,
really think about it,
right, and
you
you
are
know,
definitely also bridging the gap.
and thank you, and
In
you know,
all,
I couldn't. Don't get me wrong. It took a lot. It took 36 years to get to this thought process. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go through life, and in order for you to go, when you go through life, you're gonna understand it more. You know what I'm saying? So, like, somebody asked me a question. If I was to talk to my old self, would I listen? I probably would. I didn't live life, so you know what I'm saying. Like, I would have never listened to it because I'm still living, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a few that's gonna learn early. You're gonna have some that's gonna learn late. It doesn't. It's still a fact that as long as they're learning, is something, and that's what we
absolutely.
should. So that's pretty much where I'm wanting to bridge the gap at.
Okay. 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 All right. I can rock with it. I can rock with it. Now, what are some of the mistakes you wish you could avoid it? And I'm thinking primarily with your music, but if there are other things that you want to discuss, by all means, go for it.
Well, at first I used to have a lot of regrets. Like I wish I'd done it more. Done this more, this, than the third. But kind of as I got older, I realized there's no point in regret because it had to happen in order for you to understand it. You know what I mean? So even if it's music or you know what I'm saying, life itself. Like, let's take music for example. My first project, my first ever project, Back to the Basics. It's on that piff if anybody wants to find it or just hit me up. But the first project I was very disgusted with. Beforehand, I was excited about it. But you know what I'm saying, as I grew older, I was like, you know what I'm saying, like I could have did better. I could have did this. I could have done that. But I left it out there for the simple fact of it took 3 years to get here. Normally for people, it takes about 5, maybe 10 at the most. But for 3 years to where I'm comfortable with a sound, like I left it there because I want to show y'all there's growth. Like it's not stagnant. Like you're not just hearing this one style. Go back. I was worse. You know what I mean? Like so I'm always developing on something. You know what I mean? So like I'm not regretting it. Like y'all gonna hear it. Like some cases I'll put my old stuff like I was really talking about it back then, but this is what I sounded like. You know what I mean? So I just had to develop.
Okay, okay. All right, all right. So, I know. Because, I'm trying to stay on task. And listen, shout out to those of you out there who are paying careful attention to my eye contact and things of that nature. Just to let you know, I am a one woman show. So if I look down and it seems like I'm not paying attention to my guests, I'm always paying attention to my guests. And the reality is that because I'm familiar with my guests before I come onto the screen, they know how operate. But thank you for your observations, viewers. I always love the feedback. And thank you to my assistant who is always keeping me abreast of what the viewers are saying that aren't on the actual live. So just so everyone understands, that's what it is. But let's get back to the interview. So, Elda, um, how do you feel the internet and world of social media impacts the industry as well as independent artists? Like, what are your thoughts?
Oh, we're lazy at it.
Okay.
Like, and the reason why I say we're lazy at it, like, usually beforehand, it was back in the day, somebody would give you a CD, this, and the third. They put the effort into it. You're going to listen to it because they put so much effort into this one little CD for you to listen to it. We got past that. You know what I'm saying? Now people just drop a link off, expecting you to listen to it. You know what I mean? Instead of just, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just talking about it, introducing yourself like a human being, like, hey, I'm such and such.
Run that back. Run that back. They do what?
Huh?
Run it back. What do they do? They do it. They just drop a what?
Oh, they just drop a link off, like, just here. You know what I mean? It's like dating. We got lazy to date, so we've got lazy to do a lot of stuff. It's everything that we've done now is lesser. To where the point now, like if I want somebody to hear my music, I just gotta go in the inbox and drop it off. I ain't introduce myself.
Boom. And it's
You know
interesting
what I mean?
that you say that because I will get links maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Right.
And I'll just let them sit there.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, you know what? How can they learn if they were never taught? So I'll run it back.
Exactly.
I'll also say, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is such and such. How can I help you with this?
Right.
And
Right.
generally, when I do that and then I post a little flyer, then they'll, send that information. And so I think you bring up a valid point. So that leads me to the next question for you. Like, what advice would you give other artists or aspiring independent artists that are trying to kind of grow in this industry?
Um, what I will honestly say,
Hmm.
go back to the basics.
Absolutely. 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 I'm with it. I'm with it. And I think we had a little freeze in there. But guys, you've been listening to Leon L. Hinton. He is a spectacular guy. And he definitely has a lot of music. He has a lot of music out here. What I need to do is I'm gonna play a little bit of his music because when he comes back, we're gonna transition into. I have a special guest for you guys, and we're gonna talk about the state of affairs right now in the world, and a little bit about how we view it from our worldview. So listen to "Breathe" once again. This is one of L. Dot's songs.
team was rocking with me. They always wanted more. So when time was catching up, it's like I wanted more. Multiply my back and up. I know the door was closed, the Lord knows the rent was good. I had my city jumping and respect for my hood. Until I crossed paths with a cat that wanted my position. And all I wanted was a way out from this fast living. So could you tell that cat my pride way more than my vision? Even before he did me, that became my mission. Until he caught me slipping and took me back and let me kick me. My city was just a dump in the biscuit, and my life was ended. If I had the chance to come back to fight, I'd tell him yes. I had the hustle power. I only did this for my kids. It was my last option to make the decision to the thing. But I would have changed the way I live. Give them the chance to bring it down. Never know when you see it. Just come back and try. A lot of folks listen. No family to friends. Wondering what they'll say if they can bring what we do. What's the yeah.
We let the people listen to Breathe once again. It's ironic that you have this song out.
Okay. Which one? Went up with my dad, wanted to celebrate my move. Pulled out a stash, rolling up to set the mood. Something said not to do it, but I was telling myself, kid, what you got to lose, kid, so I can mix the right to flip. Everything seemed cool, well, at least from what I thought. There we go. Came out with red as crystal spark. Hell, I couldn't move. The drove I spoke kept me on stuck. And straight bullets hit me in the chest, right to my heart and struck. If I was alive now, my wife would tell that man did. And I don't even keep my pop, but you took one of the kids.
So, guys, what you're listening to is called Breathe Once Again, and that is one of L. Dot's songs. And so, I think that it's interesting if you listen to the song, he's speaking. He's speaking. A lot of music now, we hear artists that are just talking, but he's actually speaking. And when you prepare a speech and when you give a speech, the difference between just talking and speaking, when you're talking, you're just talking, you're just saying something. But when you're speaking, there's something there
But when
that
you're
you are
speaking, there's something.
trying. So, Elguy, what's next? What's next?
With the future?
Yep.
Well, besides the whole, create my own genre. My album is coming out July 13th, which is my daughter's death date, along with talking to my daughter. The video for talking to my daughter is anticipated to drop on her birthday, which is July 1st. So it's coming like pretty soon. After that, I got an R&B coming out next year, which is called Lost Vows.
Oh.
A project I'm working on with Spotify artists that I've linked up with, and I want to call it a road trip. So that's like 2-year project. So I got a little time.
Okay. All right.
It's literally, I want to say like 7 projects lined up within the next 3 years. So I got a little work ahead of me.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. So L dot. So I think it's important that we talk about you as an artist, but we also pay homage and respect to you as a black man, uh,
Appreciate that.
particularly with everything that's going on in these United States of America right now.
Right.
Um, before
Mhm.
you go, what word or words of inspiration and motivation do you have for other brown and people of color, particularly men?
What I've been saying to people lately is it's okay to fight. Just know what you're fighting for and why you're fighting about it.
Oh,
Um,
oh, woo.
now to go into detail, like I said, I've lived multiple lifestyles and been in multiple worlds, from military to motorcycle world to, you know what I'm saying, like in the streets, gangbang or what have you, there's always a fight. I mean, like, I asked a question this morning, which actually made sense to me. Like, name a day that you didn't fight.
Oh, wow.
And you know what I'm saying? It made me think and sit like and say that it's okay to fight. Fight is what makes the world go. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen. It's balance. But you just gotta know what you're fighting about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have no clue what you're fighting about, you're fighting wrong, period.
Ooh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? And the hardest fight you'll ever have is fighting yourself.
The hardest
So
fight you'll
until you know how to fight yourself, then you'll know what you're fighting about.
Wow. So the why and the what?
Is
The
the big
why
key
and the
factor.
what? Mm. Guys, you heard it. You heard it from Mr. Henton,
Yes.
that is. And guys, definitely follow him on social media. Let the people know where they can find you on social media.
All social media at the real L dot, which is TheRealLDot. For music wise, it's just L period space dot. That's Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. On Pandora, it's L dot in parentheses Texas, because there's two of us. But if anybody have any questions, I do have a personal line anybody can reach me on, which is 301-909 L dot or 5368. And just text or call twice, because I'm not gonna answer the first time. But call twice or send me a text, and I'll give you whatever information you need, or you just want to talk. Like, I'm all for it. So
Perfect, perfect. Well, stay tuned because we're getting ready to transition into a different segment. But Dot, we love you. We thank you
I
so much
love
for
you
coming
guys, and
forward
thank you for
tonight.
having me. I'm still gonna tune in.
Yes, absolutely. Look, you're gonna be back. You're gonna be back. That's all
Yes, ma'am.
to it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good night,
All right.
sweetie. Guys, you already heard it. We were rocking it out with L Dot. And if you notice, its consulting time is gone. And its consulting time is gone because what we're going to do, we're going to transition into just authentic conversations. And we know that all things authentic is on Thursday nights, but today ended the 3 services for George Floyd, right? No need to talk to you about who he is because y'all already know his name. Um, and so Siobhan and I are going to seemingly just speak from our worldview, for the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Um, and kind of reflecting, for me, it's going to be more of a reflection on the different services that I've watched, listening to Reverend Al Sharpton speak, but also really thinking about revelations and how it really is befitting the times that we're living in, right? And so, Shaquan, I'm gonna just introduce yourself to the world.
Hi everybody, my name is Shaquan. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to introduce. Like, what else am I supposed to
Who you want them to think you are? Because you can be who you want to be on social media.
I have a lot of personality. Hopefully, you'll learn some more about me. I've been in Richmond for the better part of 4 years.
Okay.
I am originally from Michigan, White Cloud, Michigan. That is.
Hey, Michigan.
So, by way of Phoenix, Arizona. So I have to talk about all three of the places, and all three of the places have given me a different experience and a different spin on life.
Okay.
You know, we are in such a, a time of just racial uproar. It's not even, we're talking about discrimination, we're talking about police brutality, we're talking about human rights, not just black male rights, but human rights for a person to literally put their knee in somebody's neck and sit on it for
not even
minutes.
On, but in. You said that right, in somebody's neck. Absolutely.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds and look into the camera like, and what you gonna do about it?
Facts.
That's where we are now, because obviously no one is scared of prison because they don't get that time. Nobody is scared of the consequences or the repercussions of their actions, because Black lives really don't matter.
Ooh,
so we have to really put our foot down. We really have to talk about what's important to us, because as Black women and as single Black women, Black men really do matter. Like, without the man, there we cannot continue. We cannot. We can't produce. We can't continue to make generations of Black children. So I feel almost threatened myself because of the fact that you're killing a man that still had seed, that still had life, that still had potential.
So so I guess I hear so many different things right now. I hear Black men. I hear, you're killing off and truly trying to, I guess, cut off the reproduction of the African American race. So I guess one of the things we need to do is we need to look at birth rates.
That's right.
Right? Because we live in a world where data is everything. Absolutely. So I think we need to start researching, population. We need to start researching birth rates, because I think about my hometown. And growing up, my hometown was majority, white Americans, and now it's different. Totally different. But I think we also have an issue where, we have people that, and I'm going to hit this because someone asked this. We have those of us, and see, I can't speak for anybody else's race. I can only speak for mine. We have those of us that feel like because we hit a certain tax bracket that we've arrived. No, you have not arrived. And someone questioned me about why did my dress say all Black lives matter? Because there is a difference between me, Malia Obama, Beyonce, Shaquan, and Tamika and Keisha and them down the street. Because 9 times out of 10, depending on what socioeconomic status you're at, you're going to be treated differently when you come in contact with law enforcement, in the workplace, wherever it is. Socioeconomic status means a lot, right? And so that's why I said all Black lives matter, simply because we have this thing where we categorize, just like we categorize sin, we categorize and compartmentalize people. Once again, like I said, I can only speak about Black people because I'm Black. And I know we do it. This, what we're doing, if this were back in the day, what she said wouldn't matter, because she would be outside the house and I would be inside.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Yes. And so I think we have years of this. We have years of this that we have to break. This is the thing. We got to fix the establishment inside of us.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
Shout out to DJ Such and Such. He said it on Saturday. Self-love. We got to fix what's going on inside of us before we can do anything else.
That's right. That's so true.
But Shaquan, the interesting thing is, and I know you'll understand this perspective. So today, Reverend Al Sharpton spoke about the fact that Colin Kaepernick knelt and tried to elicit a response. And seemingly, it didn't do any good. But this common man who was publicly executed has changed the world. And I was talking to somebody and I said to them, I said, it makes sense to me. Because Colin was a celebrity.
It's true.
So it's expected for a celebrity to speak up and speak out and change the world.
Yes,
But I have to believe, in order for me not to have the disturbance and just disdain for people in my heart, I have to believe that this was all a part of the plan. I have to believe that this public beating and persecution was put into place so that we as a people can realize that we are worthy. Because I don't mean any harm. Now it's like, wait a minute. So many young black men don't think they worthy. They don't think they worth nothing.
Well, one thing I want to kind of go back on is Colin Kaepernick is in sports, and ironically, George Floyd was the star of his basketball team, his football team. There are so many black young men that you'll never see on the national field. I'm sure George Floyd probably could have ran circles around Colin Kaepernick.
Possibly, from what they're saying, absolutely.
But you'll never hear about him because he had a record. Life happened to him. He didn't have the advantages that Colin Kaepernick was fortunate enough to have.
Because Colin Kaepernick was taken out of his environment and placed into a more suitable environment, which goes back to, all right, y'all, let's talk about this defunding the police. I'm going to jump all over the place.
Okay.
Y'all need to understand something. Defunding the police does not mean pulling money.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to get that. That's why y'all need to understand policy and the interpretation thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Defunding the police simply means that you're going to reallocate the funds. So you may defund police operations, but you may reallocate the funding to police education and training, to community policing programs. So stop taking stuff so daggone literally.
And stop being so stupid.
Ooh.
You're not going to take police off of the street. Clearly, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you know, hello somebody. Hello.
I'm a Facebook activist. But anyways, I had a real argument with somebody, a real foolish person, because I'm like, you all don't want police. First of all, stop saying you all.
I'm trying to figure out who you, because somebody said these people the other day, these people are lazy and they want food stamps and all of this. So I said, well, I don't know if I fit into these people because I hold multiple degrees in the advance of a bachelor's degree, and I work every day. We probably got about 12.
Right. Between the two of us there, and that's the thing, African American women in the United States are the most educated demographic in the nation. So when you talk about you people, I'm so sick of hearing Shanae on food stamps or Shanae is loud, because that's not the general. That's not us. Has nothing to do with us. Is there a small percentage of bad actors in every group?
Absolutely.
But the majority of us is getting there. The majority of us, I have to applaud my sisters, because the majority of us are owning businesses. We're buying property. We are graduating. We're starting school. We are educated people. And for a person to generalize what a black person is, that just goes to show the ignorance and the climate that we're in. You don't even know what a black woman is.
Oh my!
You haven't even experienced a black woman. All you can say is who Shanae was around 30 years ago. That was a Martin character. What are you talking about? Like, you have to understand, like, these people that are sitting around you, they got more intelligence and degrees and read more books and have more knowledge than you do.
You know what's so funny though? You know what's really funny? When I think about what you're saying, and I think about what I'm saying, there's always a ram in the bush.
Always.
And I'm going to reference us as the ram. Because
always.
Bush had Condoleezza Rice. Trump had Omarosa, and then Omarosa figured out who she was and dipped. But why did it take for you to really be abused to understand? Because for me, I'm never going to let it get to that point. Like, I would support anybody. But I think one of the other things is that, my sisters, we have to realize who we are.
Yes.
We have to realize that we are a strong people. And I spoke about this a long time ago. I think that when we talk about African American culture, we talk about African American culture as it has been presented to us by other people. But the African American culture that I pride myself on is the African American culture that I learned within my family. I learned that although the man is the man of the house, I learned that the woman is strong and holds things together. Right? I learned that the woman is the financial guru in the house because she is the one that can take that check and make that thing stretch.
Right.
31 and 65 days if she has to. And so I know that we as an African American people are very charitable. We believe in service. We believe in family. We believe in love. We believe in God.
We believe in God. And we believe in unity.
Absolutely. So the interesting thing is, I keep hearing the Black Lives Matters people want to do this and do that, but this is the thing. You got to research like the entire Black Lives Matter movement and see it's not all that many black people that truly started that movement. So what has happened is millennials and Gen Zers who are sick of the foolishness from some of our parents and grandparents, they created that movement because they were like, hold up. Black people cannot fix a system that they didn't destroy. They cannot fix a system that was not set up or designed for them. So what do they have to do? We gotta help them.
Right.
Tim Kaine said it best the other day. He was like, white people, we gotta do better. We gotta help. Because they didn't create this.
We didn't. I was arguing with somebody else on Facebook not too long ago about reformations. And she was saying, do you think that my 15-year-old daughter or my toddler owes you an apology? I said, that's not what reparations is about, first and foremost. And second of all, this is why we're having these stupid conversations, because you're just that ignorant to ask me a dumb question as to if your 15-year-old daughter or your toddler owes me a apology. You know, first of all, who I am. Second of all, reparations is not a handout. If we were to get reparations, it's due us, it's owed to us. For 400 years, we've lived in a country that's not ours, and we have no idea who we are as a people, other than the fact that we came off of boats in Africa. I don't know what my last name is still. Do you? We still have. I said, this is why reformations is needed. This is why reparations is something that we should be talking about, and we should be educating even other younger generations, because we may not be around for reformations, but our grandchildren just might,
all of the conversations, because at first, I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody talking about, reparations. I'm like, reparations. I don't know anything. And I'm going to keep the stack with you. Because I feel like if I take something else from you, you still own me. I don't want nothing.
And that's the thing. I think, if the Japanese were able to get reparations, the Jewish community, they got reparations.
Okay.
All the communities that the U.S. said, man, we messed y'all up. Inside of the indigenous people who probably still aren't getting they definitely aren't getting what they deserve. It's the African American population who has been slighted the most and have gotten the least. Everything they give us, they tax us on. Everything they try they try to come at us with and say this is yours. It's half of it. Even for public education, I'm sending this to something totally. Oh my God!
Girl, I'm not going. I know, Chad.
Even the way we have public education, public education separate but equal. Let's talk about what our high schools look like and what the high schools in other cities.
Wait a minute. I will talk about the high school that I taught in on the east end of Henrico, Highland Springs High School, and what Glen Allen and Deep Run out there looking like airports.
Exactly.
So hello, somebody.
So we're still. They gave us public education because that was the thing to do. But look at how our public education is still not equal. Whatever they give us, they're always going to take something back from us. Even with our communities, give us back our communities. Let us that are educated, that are strong, open, and run our communities. But then you're going to take that back from us because you're going to try to figure out a way to tax us on what is ours.
Absolutely. And listen, guys, you need to understand what the day is. The they, we're not saying white people. You need to understand that the they is that 1% of people, including some colors, as my mama would say, that that have in their hands that are holding 99% of the wealth.
That's right.
That's who the they is. That's what I need you to understand. There is an ongoing battle between black and white, but for real, the major battle is between the haves and the have-nots.
That's right.
The rich get richer,
and the
poor get prison.
True. So true. And that's big facts. Big facts. Because I mean, we see our prison population, even the African American men.
Mm-hmm.
There, a lot of them, and I don't know the percentage, so I'm not going to say, but a lot of them are in prison serving life sentences for nonviolent crimes. Who does that?
Absolutely.
Like we have a good percentage of our lineage that we'll never see again because they've been put away for stuff that other cultures get 6 months for, but yet we're serving life sentences.
Absolutely.
Why is marijuana still? Why are people still in prison for marijuana? When they legalized marijuana, you should have let them out of prison.
That's it.
Why are we still fighting to have them back when it's legal? People in Chesterfield Hills or wherever they live, they can smoke it and they get their little medical card here. They can smoke it, but then you still got Pookie that's in prison for 25 years.
But the other part of it is, if there were better mental health services, you probably wouldn't have all these people out here smoking weed to self-medicate. You don't know how many people say, look, I smoke weed to self-medicate because of this trauma. And then we got to demystify the stigma of mental health, resources in the African American community. It's so many different things.
Yes.
Y'all listen, that's why we just ranting. Because it's so many different things we need to talk about. And for real, what are we going to do? That's the question. What are we going to do? What are you guys going to do to help the situation? But what I'm going to do is, we're actually going to move this conversation over to Instagram Live in a little while. So come over to Instagram Live. It will be Sanaj Consulting Express. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but we need to make sure that we're crossing all audiences and all boundaries. Guys, don't forget we were rocking with L. Dot earlier. So please follow him on all of his social media. It is at The Real L. Dot. And guys, once again, as always, I'm here to rap with you, to bring you fun, to bring you energy, but most importantly, to bring you joy, justice, and jewels. Good night, everyone.